Advantage Athletic Therapy. Good day, fine sir. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I have a question for you today, and I don't know if it's relevant, but it's kind of a scenario I walked through a couple weeks ago. My mom had big surgery, and she's doing fine. She recovered, but there wasn't any, and it was on her gut, which was kind of crazy. At 81 years old and tough as nails. Boy, let me tell you, whew, I would not have wanted to be one of those nurses. Anyway, but that's another story for another day. But when she come out of it and she's back learning, she's walking again slowly. But I was surprised that there wasn't any like long term down the road therapy for her that I've seen yet in order to visit someone like you or Paige and help her get, you know, going again. At 81, you're going to be laid up for 6 weeks, right? You're going to be just moving very little bits. And to get everything moving again, because she is an active person, I didn't know, like, we've never talked about this. Is this common? Do you guys get referrals? Should people be looking at this when they come out of big surgery? Like, give me your opinion.
Well, the way I look at it is just because you've had a surgery like that, or especially if it's something like in your abdomen, like it's not really affecting extremities, right? So losing function that you had before doesn't really mean or doesn't really make sense. Like it shouldn't have to happen. So like the number one thing that they're going to want to do is protect the incision site, make sure everything's healed there, and like you said, might be up in bed for a couple of weeks healing. But once once that's finished, then like yeah, we need to start things, start getting moving, start getting used to that balance. And that's the other, like those secondary complications with something like that is like you want to prevent falls, you want to prevent losing your independence, right? Like if she was 81 years old and she was doing fine on her own beforehand, it's a big transition to losing that freedom. And yeah, coming in to see us and just helping with like minor strength training or muscle activations, range of motion, retraining gait, like walking cadence, all that stuff is super important.
Well, it's always, every sports injury I think I've ever had, I've been referred to go see a therapist later, like to get that working again. And I just thought with surgeries, because there's so many different ones and they're so complicated. Like if you're coming out of I don't know, I mean, a heart program that I know about, like when you have a heart attack and you're rehabilitating and they encourage you, like they want you to get some of that therapy going to get your body moving again in the right direction and monitoring your heart rate and all that. But also like anybody with, that's maybe come through cancer, there's all those stages of rebuilding. And I just thought you guys are such an important element because you want that body to be the best it can be, right? You want to be able to walk, run, do your things that you enjoy. And I just, for me, it kind of blew me away because I never really thought about it in those terms that, wow, you're needed so much even with the other things that happen outside of the sports realm, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, with heart attack, perfect example. Like, what is the heart? Heart's a muscle, right? And it can be conditioned. There's a reason why not everybody can just go run a marathon. It's those marathon runners have trained those muscles and their heart to improve that cardiovascular system. And we can take it down to a smaller scale too, like getting out of the hospital, being in bed for 6 weeks. Like that's going to have a huge effect. Muscle wasting is going to occur, and you're going to lose strength. So getting back and starting to activate and use those muscles again is a huge part of it.
Is it just worth, like, if you come out, if you've been in the hospital, maybe you've been through some long-term health, it's worth a call, isn't it? Just to say to you, hey, here's what I've been through.
Definitely, and we can assess in terms of like deficits, like where we see strength needs to improve, where range of motion needs to improve, and like we can always take a look. It's not like it could be a program that you start to do on your own too, and develop that and create strength on your own time, but with like guidance of somebody who's kind of evaluating you from a different perspective.
So let's take this one step further and look at like knee replacements, hip replacements. Are you seeing a lot of those folks?
Yes, definitely. That's
Okay.
yeah, that's a very common thing that we're dealing with.
And what's that sort of involve? Range of motion again, trying to get stability back?
Definitely range of motion, stability, strength, and then it's also when you're needing a replacement. Let's say your right hip, right knee, doesn't matter. For a long time, it's not going to be like it's just now I need it. I'm getting it done. Everything's fine. There's going to be that period of time where the left side now is being depended on more. We're changing things, like we're compensating. It's working on those compensations trying to reroute those back to where they should be, and then strengthening the affected side and getting that range of motion and kind of getting everything working together. Otherwise, we're just going to be burning the rope at both ends and kind of being back to square one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never even thought about that because, yeah, when those scenarios occur, and as you get older too, right? That's the other part that we want to take into consideration when we talk about my mom, the age. Like, I mean, there's certain criteria you must meet with age as far as mobility and flexibility, correct?
Right.
That you understand each individual is different, but I'm sure there's that range of motion that you want to see people get back to.
Well, and then at 81, there's some people that are comfortable or that haven't been able to walk, haven't been able to move around, and that's kind of how some people may view it. Like, oh, that you're 81. Like, what else? Like, what else can you ask for? But that's
Right.
not very fair because 81, there's people that are out there running marathons, right? So what if what if it happened to somebody in that condition, right? Like, are you like you can't just say like, sorry, you're done. Like, hop in bed for the rest of your life, right? It's kind of getting back to the swing of things and 100%. Like, you can improve from there.
It's amazing. This is my last question of the day because you're a big sports fan. I'm a big sports fan. Who's winning the Stanley Cup this year?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go Florida.
Oh, he's taking the Panthers.
They play hard. They've got some depth scoring now. Like Tarasenko being added, pretty good on the back end. And if Bob can keep it up, then they're gonna be a tough one to knock out.
I'm just gonna take any Canadian team. It's just
don't get me wrong.
Later,
I'd love
right?
to see it.
We're gonna get it back, right? The cup's gonna come home at some point. Yeah, any Canadian team. I'll go with that.
Scary.
And yeah, but the goaltending bothers me a little bit. Oh, sorry, we're getting off topic. Is that easy? Yeah, and Vancouver's goaltending injury too.
I know. Right? Yeah, that's classic Vancouver, right?
Classic Vancouver. There you go, folks. You've got his pick, Florida. Let's see if he's right. Talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, take it easy.